Tom Friedman, Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist for the New York Times and author of 4 books, including The World is Flat, spoke to Crew Network attendees about how to stay current in today's global economy. Here, we caught up with Tom before his presentation.
Our book really is about a lot of the underlying causes of this paralysis, the gerrymandering of political districts, the runaway influence of money in politics, and the narrowcasting of journalism, the fact that there's sort of liberal TV and conservative TV now. All of that really fragments the country, gets people speaking in echo chambers rather than across the aisle to one another. And eventually it reaches a critical mass. And I think where we are today is that critical mass. We've actually reached the tipping point where the system just seizes up. You know, when I certainly broke into journalism, there were very few women foreign correspondents. Although I'm now the foreign affairs columnist of the New York Times, and the first foreign affairs columnist of the New York Times was a woman, Ann O'Hare McCormick. But I don't think women bring anything different than men bring to foreign corresponding. I think good journalists bring good things and bad journalists bring bad things. So I really think it's about the journalism you do, not the gender. I'm so thrilled that more women are able to go into the field now. And you got a lot more couples now working together in foreign bureaus. I think that's been a great thing to give women a chance to go in. But I don't think they bring anything different than a man does. I think it's about the journalism, not the gender. What you're seeing are the product of some very big structural changes. It said Citizens United, that anyone could give any amount of money to a candidate. So that can allow a single individual to keep a single candidate in a presidential race. Well, whether it's a liberal or a Republican, what that can do is really skew the race, because if I'm Mitt Romney, for instance, and one donor can keep Newt Gingrich in the race, well beyond the time when conservative voters have rejected him, it keeps me on the right. I can't move to the center, all right? And that's sort of what happened to Mitt Romney, because Newt Gingrich had a single donor who could actually underwrite his whole race. So Romney, who wanted to pivot to the center after he tied up the Republican nomination, couldn't pivot until much later. It was really, really a problem. That's one problem. The gerrymandering of political districts into Republican and Democratic districts means the election is the primary, because Republican only can beat by someone on his right, Democrat by someone on his left. And as I say, what's happened to the news media, the fragmentation of news now. In fact, we don't all watch the same news. We don't share the same opinions. We don't share the same facts anymore. And all of those are contributing to this problem. Well, again, you have to change it one bad law at a time. I think Citizens United was a terrible decision of the Supreme Court that says that a corporation is like you and me and can give any amount of money it wants. I think you have to change the gerrymandering of political boundaries, whether they're Republican or Democratic, that they be done by bipartisan, nonpartisan groups that correspond to some rational geography. Have you ever seen what some of these congressional districts look like? They look like bizarre pieces of op art, as if someone threw paint against a wall. These are the result of bad decisions. They can only be undone by good decisions. I'm going to talk today about my advice in general for workers, men and women, in today's global economy. And that'll be the theme of my talk today, because there's no advice I could give to men about the big structural things that I wouldn't give to women. I'm the father of 2 girls, and so I think about these issues quite a bit. And my advice to them is the same would be to 2 boys.